"We're skipping your kid's birthday. Money's tight." That was my dad a week before my son turned 10. I'm Nicole, a mom of a 10-year-old who still draws hearts on homemade cards. The morning of the party, I opened Instagram, and there they were on my sister's live. A red-blue bounce house, clowns, a magician, cupcakes with custom toppers, gifts stacked to my mom's shoulders. My son looked over my shoulder and whispered, "Don't they need me?" I felt something colder than anger, because for 3 years I'd quietly wired $950 every month to cover my parents' rent, while they told me money was tight. So I snapped a photo of the rent check and typed 2 words, "Return to sender." They changed the rules. I changed the locks. Have you ever been loved only when you're paying? Tell me in the comments and stay with me. The morning of my son's birthday started like every other. Cartoons humming in the background, the smell of cereal and milk. He sat at the table, swinging his legs, debating whether to bring his scooter to the park. I smiled, said, "Of course," pretending not to notice how small his excitement felt this year. My dad had said, "Money's tight." And I believed him because that's what daughters do. We believe our fathers, even when something doesn't feel right. I kept telling myself it was fine. We didn't need gifts or big gestures. I just wanted them there. A cup of coffee, a photo together, something normal. But then I opened Instagram. My sister's live stream played like a punch to the chest. Bright colors, balloons, a bounce house towering in the yard, clowns dancing, kids screaming with laughter. And there was my dad, holding a tray of cupcakes with cartoon toppers. My mom decorating a table buried in gifts. My breath caught. My son leaned over, saw it too. "Is that Grandma's house?" he asked. I nodded. Then came the quietest question I've ever heard. "Don't they need me?" Something inside me cracked. Not anger, something colder, realization. They hadn't forgotten. They'd chosen. We still went to the park. My husband grilled hot dogs, played music, made everyone laugh. But I wasn't really there. I kept replaying that video, their laughter echoing in my head. I thought about the $950 I sent each month to cover their rent, about the groceries, the car repairs, the emergency dental bill I'd paid for my sister. How many times had I filled their fridge while they emptied mine of trust? That night, I sat alone in the living room. My son's card for my dad lay on the coffee table. Crayon hearts, shaky handwriting that read, "Happy birthday, Grandpa, I love you." I couldn't throw it away. I couldn't even touch it. I opened my laptop, found the rent receipt, took a screenshot, and typed 2 words in the subject line, "Return to sender." My hands shook, not from guilt, but from clarity, because that was the night I realized love without respect is just debt, with interest. By the next morning, the knocking started before I'd even finished my coffee. Hard, constant, like they were entitled to an explanation. My husband said it had been 20 minutes straight. I didn't move. I just stood there listening, towel still wrapped around me, watching my phone light up with missed calls. 2 from Dad, 1 from Mom, 1 from my sister. What the hell did you do? They still had a key, from years ago when they insisted on emergency access. The sound of it turning in the lock made something deep inside me twist. The door caught on the chain. They couldn't get in, but they still tried. When I finally opened it, they were standing there like they'd shown up for brunch instead of confrontation. My mom held a pink pastry box. My dad kept staring at the floor. "Why lie?" I asked. My voice didn't even shake. Dad said, "It wasn't a lie, just poor timing." Mom chimed in, saying I was too sensitive, that they didn't mean anything by it. She said I could have come if I wanted, as if I'd ever been invited. Then Dad said the thing that ended it for me. "You might want to think about the will before you make a scene." The will, that was his leverage, his way of reminding me who made sacrifices. I stared at him, cold. "We paid your rent for 3 years, groceries, car repairs, dental bills, gifts for the twins. You've made your sacrifices? So have we," quietly. He didn't answer. My mom muttered, "This is ridiculous." I told them both to leave. My husband stepped closer, arms crossed, voice steady. "You heard her." As they turned to go, I said one last thing. "The rent's done. Permanently." They froze but didn't look back. That silence was louder than any apology. That night felt endless. My son didn't ask about them. He just played with his new toy cars and asked if we could go to the arcade next weekend instead. I said yes. He smiled and said he didn't really like clowns anyway. Later, while cleaning up, I checked my phone. My sister had posted a screenshot of my email, the one with the rent check photo and subject line, "Return to sender." Her caption read, "Jealous people can't stand seeing others happy." Comments flooded in. "So bitter." "Ungrateful." "She's always been dramatic." I didn't respond. I didn't defend myself, because I finally understood what silence could do. It could protect. That week, I started closing tabs in my life, one by one. Canceled the shared grocery account, removed the auto pay for her bills, changed every password. Every little click felt like reclaiming oxygen. I wasn't angry anymore, I was just done. And that, I realized, was its own kind of power. By Wednesday, I thought the chaos might finally settle. I'd muted every group chat, turned off notifications, and tried to live in the quiet. But guilt is like static. You can turn down the volume, it still hums beneath everything. That morning, while packing my son's lunch, I got another text from my mom. "Your sister is devastated. Her boys are confused. You really hurt this family." No apology, just accusation. I stared at the message while slipping pretzels into a bag. My son wanted 2 that day. I gave him both. That afternoon, he came home with a drawing. Our family sitting under a tree, eating cake. He'd written "the best birthday" in the corner. I asked if he wanted to hang it on the fridge. He said, "No, it's just for me." It broke me in ways words can't. The next night, my sister went nuclear. A long Facebook post. "I no longer have a sister. Some people use money to control others." Hundreds of likes, comments from mutual friends saying, "Proud of you for setting boundaries." The irony was suffocating. I cried quietly in the bathroom, sitting on the closed toilet lid. 10, maybe 15 minutes. My husband didn't knock. He just waited outside like always. When I finally came out, he held up a takeout menu and asked, "Pizza or Chinese?" His calmness was a rope when I felt like drowning. Later, I opened the old drawer of just-in-case papers, receipts, letters, proof of every sacrifice. I found the envelope from when we gave my sister $5,000 for her move 7 years ago, a spreadsheet my husband had kept, $15,000 total over the years, rent, bills, birthdays, emergencies, no repayments, no thank yous. I stared at that number until the tears dried. Then I whispered, "That's it." But I was wrong. It wasn't the end. The next morning, an email arrived. Subject, urgent notice. Past due rent. My parents' landlord, 2 months unpaid. He said he'd waited because of our reliable history, but couldn't any longer. He wanted to know if we were still covering the lease. I archived it. Then the calls started again. Unknown numbers, voicemails I didn't listen to, until one name popped up, Marcus, my sister's boyfriend. He said he just wanted to mediate, that things had been hard lately. I blocked him mid-sentence. Minutes later, a call with no ID. I answered out of habit. My mom's voice. She started soft. "The boys are crying. Your sister isn't eating. This has gone too far." When I stayed silent, her tone hardened. "We can transfer you $1,000 right now if you just help with this month's rent. Your dad's trying to sell a few things. We just need time." I asked, "What things?" A pause. Then she said it so casually it felt cruel. "Some heirlooms, furniture, the china set. We moved most into storage already. It's not a big deal." That's when I realized they weren't fixing anything. They were escaping it. And then she said the line that hollowed me out completely. "You owe us, Nicole, for everything we gave you growing up." I didn't yell, I didn't cry, I just hung up. And for the first time, I understood what rock bottom really felt like, when the people who raised you start calling your generosity a debt. When my husband came home that night, I told him everything. Every message, every voicemail, every word that had turned love into guilt. He didn't interrupt. He just listened, arms folded, jaw tight, like he'd been waiting for this moment longer than I had. Then, quietly, he went to the hall closet and pulled out an old folder, creased, almost falling apart, the one we'd used when we first got married. When money was tight, but dreams were bigger than fear. He flipped to the last page and showed me a number circled in red. Our savings. "It's enough," he said softly. "We can buy a house. New zip code, new start. Let them keep their chaos. We're done financing it. For a long time, I couldn't speak. I just nodded, tears caught behind my eyes. That night, he scrolled through Zillow listings while our son colored rockets and stars on a napkin. For the first time in years, the air in our home felt safe. Then my phone buzzed, a message from my sister. No rant, no apology, just 2 photos. The first was a receipt for a storage unit, 3 months prepaid under my parents' names. The second, a crumpled yellow note in my dad's messy handwriting. The top line read, "Nicole, if this is goodbye, there's something you never knew." My stomach turned. I waited an hour before replying. Send the rest. When the second photo came, I wasn't ready. Your sister's first birthday. We couldn't afford gifts for both of you. We chose her, and we kept choosing her. Not because she needed it more, but because you never asked. You were quiet. You didn't complain. It made it easier to give to the one who made noise. It doesn't mean we were right. We were lazy, selfish. My breath caught. I read it again and again until the words blurred. For years, I'd built excuses for them, told myself they didn't mean to hurt me. But they knew. They saw the difference and chose to keep it. The last lines hit hardest. You grew up strong, Nicole. Stronger than we deserved. I saw it but never said it. I thought there would be time. I was wrong. I'm sorry. No signature, no explanation. Just the truth that had been missing my whole life. I walked into the kitchen. My husband was making popcorn. He looked at me and I didn't have to say a word. I wrapped my arms around him and whispered, "We're never going back, are we?" He said, "No, we're finally done." The next morning, I forwarded the moving truck confirmation to their landlord. They have until Friday. No offer to help, no guilt, just peace. That afternoon, my mom texted, "Saw the truck, thank you. I hope one day you understand." I stared at it, then deleted it without replying, because I already did. I finally understood every skipped birthday, every quiet dismissal, every money's tight lie. It was never about forgetting. It was about choosing. And now, for the first time, I was the one choosing. Choosing silence over begging. Choosing peace over debt. Choosing myself. By Wednesday, they were gone. No forwarding address, no explanations, just silence. Finally, mercifully, silence. My sister posted something vague about new beginnings and fresh starts. I didn't finish watching it. I was done being an audience to their performance. Instead, I watched my son in the backyard of the house we were about to buy. It had a lemon tree, a small patch of dirt he wanted to turn into a garden, and a crooked swing set that creaked when the wind blew. He ran up to me, cheeks flushed, and said, "Can we plant carrots?" I smiled, "Of course." Then he asked if we were still going camping for his next birthday. I told him, "Yes, just us." He nodded, completely content with that answer. And in that moment, I realized he didn't miss the people who hurt him. He just wanted to feel chosen. That night, after I tucked him in, I stood by the bookshelf we built together. Every shelf filled with stories where the quiet kid becomes the hero, the overlooked one who rises. I smiled because somehow that had become my story too. Weeks passed. The air in our new home felt different, lighter, freer. I didn't wake up dreading a message, didn't brace for guilt disguised as love. Silence used to scare me. Now it sounded like peace. One morning, sitting on the porch with coffee, my husband said something simple but true. "You don't owe anyone your peace, Nicole." And I finally understood what I'd been giving away all those years. My calm, my worth, my voice, to people who never noticed when it was gone. Now I notice everything. My son's laugh in the morning, the hum of the dryer at night, the way sunlight hits our kitchen walls. There's no grand ending, no revenge, just truth. Sometimes you grow up thinking you're hard to love because no one ever loved you right. But the truth is, you were never hard to love. They were just incapable. And when you finally stop chasing their approval, you don't lose a family. You find yourself. If you've ever had to choose peace over people, tell me in the comments. You're not alone.